Hello viewers, today we are going to learn about Dual Government of Bengal 1765 to 1772. I have told you in my earlier video that whenever we study any event in history, we shall not study it in isolation. I will emphasize same today here in this video. Every event has certain backward linkages and forward linkages that helps us to understand the event in totality. Today, we are going to understand the 12 government system of Bengal that existed from 1765 to 1772. This system of governance of Bengal resulted out of the Battle of Buxar, followed by the Treaty of Allahabad. 12 government system of Bengal confirmed Diwani rights of Bengal to the company, while the administrative rights were looked after by the Nawab of Bengal. This system of governance has evil due to which this system became unworkable. It gave control over the province but without any responsibility and accountability for its administration and for any of its mistakes. Just think of today's government. We pay taxes to the government so that it should provide security in various aspects of life. When such government will not pay attention to its subjects, what will happen? We also see that the lack of responsibility on behalf of the government towards the people of the province got exposed during the famine of 1770, in which thousands died. Hence, revenue of the company also dried up. This made the company financially sick. However, the directors of the company found out that the Englishmen who served the company in India were returning home with rich fortunes. Hence, company felt concern about it and determined to fix the problem. So in 1772, they abolished the dual governance system and appoint Warren Hastings as Governor General to discipline the proceedings in Bengal. Then started large number of administrative, judicial, revenue and commercial reforms. This is the slide which you can read again and make sense out of whatever that I have just explained to you. So let us try to understand why this law was enacted. Now the dual government system of Bengal has its evil that we have already looked. Then came this act. So why this law was enacted? As the name suggests, the regulating act, regulate means control, and it means that it was enacted to regulate something. Now next question arises, whom to regulate? Obviously for the regulation of the company who have entered into the administration of Bengal and doing badly in terms of governance and corruption in the company itself. Let me remind you here that East India Company was a private company like Reliance, and it got the permission to trade with India from the Queen in 1600. This permission needed to be renewed time to time by passing this act in the British Parliament. It only renewed permission for 20 years instead of 100 years this time. So we can see this, that the most important among which is the ordinance. There are many ordinances in regulating act of 1773, and one of the most important ordinance is prescribing certain rules for the company, and thus this is called regulating act of 1773, and this act aimed to limit the company charter to period of 20 years subject to review upon renewal. The 1773 Act gave the British government supervisory rights over the Bengal, Bombay, and Madras presidency, and Bengal was given the preeminence over the rest because of its enormous commercial vitality and because it was seat of British power in India at Calcutta, and its governor was elevated to the new position of Governor General. Hence, we see that Warren Hastings becomes the first incumbent. That means company uh, and the administrative of all three region that presidencies, that is Bengal, Bombay and Madras. So this act was aimed at balancing the administration, but it failed due to certain loopholes in the act. Now let us see what were the loopholes which has led to the failure of balancing the administration with company. Number one, there were two new organization was created to assist the company. That that was British Council and the Supreme Court. Now what happened? These two new government organizations were set up to help the Governor General to administer effectively the Supreme Court of Calcutta and the Calcutta Council. The relationship between the Governor General and these new government officers were not specified clearly in terms of law. You need to understand. See, new institutions were created by the British Parliament, but there was no clarity in terms of law. So they often encroached in each other's area. Warren Hastings has to wrestle for its powers with both the Supreme Court and the Council of British Council on many occasions. He was condemned by the Council on the Rohilla War and for decisions on various treaties in Anglo-Maratha War. These organizations reverted many of its administrative decisions which brought them in open conflict with the company. We will see in my next video, we are going to see Anglo-Maratha War, how the decisions toppled taken by the council were not accepted by the governor general, and some of the decisions taken by the governor general was not accepted by the council, and this has created tussle and friction also. So in order to overcome this, there was another amending act was passed in 1781 which greatly reduced the power of this organization and allowed the company to assert its power effectively. Now there are many further regulating acts were passed with the same aim to control the East India Company. It is even said that at one point of time company had its own private army which was two times more in strength than the actual British army, and the territory that it was controlling was also more than the British itself. This was obvious cause of the cause and the concern for the British Parliament. Hence, we see that the British Parliament took over the direct administration in its own hand in coming years. Okay, go. When all this was happening in Bengal, there was one great power that was also operative in the other part of India, that is Maratha. Company knew that it had to manage it if it wants to expand its territory. So, in my next video, we will learn about all the three Anglo-Maratha War, how the strategy was framed by the Britishers, and how the internal conflict within the Marathas have led to the reduction of its power in its own region and rise of British or rise of company rule or the expansion of company rule in India. This we'll see in next video. I hope you liked the video. Please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more such videos. Let there be Prasanna Prayas, a joyful endeavor towards your goal.